A close ally of late Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny says he was about to be freed at the time of his death in a prisoner swap.
Russian attacks on Ukraine have killed 5 civilians and injured 10 people over the last day, according to Ukrainian regional authorities.
Officials claim there was a large turnout in Belarus's parliamentary and local elections, despite an opposition call to boycott the polls.
In its assembly this weekend in Slovenia, the European left set up its proposals for the EU elections and elected its leading candidate.
This year's Mobile World Congress in Barcelona is focusing on AI and how it's changing our lives.
Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny was about to be freed in a prisoner swap at the time of his death. That's according to one of his close allies, Maria Pevchik, who made the claim on Navalny's YouTube channel, repeating an allegation made by supporters and his family that President Vladimir Putin had him killed.
Навальный в ближайшие дни должен был оказаться на свободе, потому что мы добились решения о его обмене. В начале февраля Путину предложили обменять киллера, офицера ФСБ Вадима Красикова, который отбывает срок за убийство в Берлине, на 2 американских граждан и Алексея Навального. Я получила подтверждение о том, что переговоры ведутся и находятся на финальной стадии вечером 15 февраля. 16 февраля Алексей был убит.
Meanwhile, in a post on X, Navalny's spokesperson said they are still looking for a suitable venue to hold a public funeral for the late politician. His body was handed over on Saturday to his mother, who was reportedly asked to agree to a secret burial, or he would be buried at the prison colony where he died. Arrangements for Navalny's interment are yet to be announced, but Russian telegram channels say he may be buried in a Moscow cemetery on the 29th of February.
Russian attacks on Ukraine have resulted in the deaths of 5 civilians over the past day, with 10 people also injured, according to Ukrainian regional authorities. In Sumy, located less than 10 kilometres from the border with Russia, firefighters battled flames after a Russian strike destroyed a house and damaged nearby buildings, according to the State Emergency Service. Regional authorities claim a guided aerial bomb killed a wife and husband at home. Earlier on Sunday, Russian Army Chief of Staff General Valery Gerasimov visited a command post in the Ukrainian combat zone, where he presented awards to the military personnel. On the same day, Ukraine's Army Chief and Defence Minister visited command posts in the combat area, where they discussed protecting troops from drones and airstrikes. Ukrainian officials say that half of all Western military support promised to Ukraine has failed to arrive on time, complicating the task of military planners and ultimately costing the lives of soldiers.
Russian officials and state media largely refrained from publicly discussing the 2-year anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine on the 24th of February, likely in an effort to avoid addressing Russia's failure to achieve its stated war aims at significant human costs, says the Institute for the Study of War. As the end of February also marks the 10th anniversary of Russia's invasion and consequent illegal annexation of Crimea, the UK Defence Ministry says Russia's tactics against Ukraine's creative warfare on the Black Sea are falling short. At the outset of the full-scale invasion in February 2022, the Russian Navy maintained the freedom to maneuver throughout the entirety of the Black Sea, most significantly in the northwest. Following Ukraine's success in employing asymmetric alternatives to its lack of a traditional navy, like guided missiles and uncrewed vessels, the Russian Navy has been repeatedly forced to reassess its appetite for risk. Ukraine has continued to push Russian threat perception to new highs through combined strike activities on land and the sea, forcing the Black Sea Fleet units to relocate their main operating areas to the eastern Black Sea. This UK Defence Ministry map shows Russia's main maritime operational areas in the Black Sea. The first area is where the Black Sea Fleet is operating at lower risk, the second at increased risk, the third at higher risk, and here, the fourth area, is where the Black Sea operations are denied. Britain's defense minister said in late December that Russia had lost around 20% of its Black Sea fleet in the previous 4 months. At a strategic level, Ukraine's approach has denied Russia the ability to interfere with its maritime trade routes.
Belarus election authorities say 73% of the country's eligible voters cast their ballots in Sunday's parliamentary and local elections, filling all 110 seats in the national parliament. President Alexander Lukashenko cast his vote and then announced his intention to stand for another 5-year term in next year's presidential polls.
Надо Беларусь развернуть в обратном направлении. Это будет очень сложно. Я уверен, особенно после проведения вот этого единого дня голосования и наших выборов. Потому что изберем мы абсолютно надежных, толковых людей, понимающих, какие задачи стоят перед нашим народом.
Opposition leader Svetlana Tikhanovskaya thanked those who'd heeded the call to boycott the polls, which she described as a circus which would not transform a dictator into a democrat. Only candidates belonging to the 4 officially registered parties loyal to Lukashenko were allowed to compete in the elections. About a dozen parties were denied registration last year.
Promoting a fight against climate change that respects the working class, or a European directive to limit rent prices, are some of the proposals for the EU elections that the European left adopted at this assembly this weekend in Slovenia. The meeting also served to elect its leading candidate, Walter Baja. The 70-year-old politician faces the challenge of trying to curb the extreme right.
I think the main area of confrontation with the far right is social politics. The far right is capitalizing on fear, and people are afraid. Many people are afraid about the future, and the established politics does not address it.
Baja's chances of accessing the European Commission are low. He does not plan to run with any national list, so he will not have the chance of becoming an MEP.
El encuentro de la izquierda europea en Ljubljana ha sido, a diferencia de lo sucedido en el resto de partidos políticos europeos, en gran parte a puerta cerrada. Además, ha servido para constatar la división entre las diferentes formaciones de su espectro político.
The left-wing space will run in the elections with 2 different platforms, but with many similarities. The European left, which is the only one constituted as a party, and now the People, of which La France Insoumise or the Spanish Podemos are part of. In addition, in recent months, there have been several splits that could further reduce the number of seats in its parliamentary group. This is the case of the Spanish coalition Sumar, which could end up joining the Green group.
Habrá que ver también cómo queda finalmente el resultado. Sin un resultado claro, pues tampoco podemos adelantar el debate. Lógicamente, tiene que haber una voluntad por parte de los grupos, de las delegaciones, de los grupos políticos que se presentan a las elecciones de ingresar en el grupo de la izquierda europea.
In Germany, a split of Die Linke, the Sarah Wagenknecht alliance, could overtake the party in number of votes. The proposal of the former Die Linke politician unites traditional left-wing politics with a restrictive view on migration.
Seven NATO submarines representing Greece, France, Italy, Spain, Turkey and the US are taking part in NATO's annual exercise this year, named Dynamic Manta 24, which is the organization's foremost anti-submarine warfare exercise off the coast of Sicily. The drill involves hunting and evasion, enhancing NATO submarines' crews' readiness against underwater threats. The exercise is hosted by the Italian Navy and is designed to boost NATO's capabilities in the Mediterranean.
Farmers in western Poland have blocked a major highway in the latest protest against EU environmental regulations. The farmers say that the blockade could last 25 days, but are currently in talks with local representatives. Farmers across Europe have been protesting for several weeks over EU environmental policies they say will create unfair competition against cheaper imports. The EU's agricultural ministers are set to meet on Monday to discuss a solution to the issues raised.
Este año en el Mobile World Congress todas las miradas están puestas en la inteligencia artificial y cómo esta está cambiando nuestra vida. No solamente la inteligencia artificial que está integrada en nuestros móviles, también en muchos otros objetos, como por ejemplo este perro robot, que es capaz de interactuar con la gente, que es capaz de hacer fotografías y reconocer nuestra voz.
China has a strong presence at the event. One of the Chinese tech giants present is Lenovo, which has presented a laptop with a transparent screen that combines AI and augmented reality, but which won't be hitting the market anytime soon. Another Chinese giant, Huawei, has been attending the Mobile World Congress for several years. Europe is an important market, as demonstrated by the fact that the company is building a factory in France.
Actually, the construction is ongoing, and it will allow us to create a very strong, resilient supply chain in Europe for our clients. Europe is and will always be the most important market for the company. Even with the pressure, with the challenges, the company continue to enlarge the investment in Europe.
The Mobile World Congress organisers are expecting more than 100,000 people to attend the event, which features 2,700 exhibitors from all over the world. The event is open until the 29th of February.